Hello everyone.
Hey guys,
Mr. April.
sorry, I'm for some reason most of you are very quiet. Let's see, it's probably my settings. Uh, yeah, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good, and it's recording. We just need to be able to get the recordings. That has been a problem lately. So today we had two topics. We wanted to talk a little bit about Go Micro and what AMI needs, when you need it, and these type of things. So hopefully Barath will join. And then we also had the profile topic. I don't know if we get to that, but that's more of a, this is the situation. How do we want to move forward?
Jonas, for the composition service implementation, since we are using Python, our plan is to add that as a kind of a separate like service, right, within the ODIM thing. So the communication layer, what we are planning is like it will talk to the aggregation service API using like RESTful layer, and it can like produce the resource blocks and resource zones. That is the one option I'm thinking of as part of the design. If we choose that case, we really do not know we really do not need to have the like the gRPC like the Go Micro thing, because this is like consuming the aggregation service northbound APIs, and then like maybe some the composition service APIs will be exposed to through aggregation service, right? As part of aggregation service, at which V1 composition service will be exposed to through aggregation service.
Um, okay, yeah. Let's so let me
This,
ping Barath just so we don't have to repeat some of the
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
we're saying. Where is he at, Barath? We were just in a meeting, so he might just have taken a short break. See here. Hi, Barath. Yeah, so I guess, Musa, just to go back a little bit, we did in the past discuss a couple of different ways of implementing the composition service. There was this discussion that, yeah, it could be one of the services inside ODIM today. And then even if it's in Python, there would be some of these. Yeah, so Barath is with us now. So if the composition service is just one ODIM service, like it is like ODIM is today, then you would have the interfaces of the composition service just be at the same IP address, and your Python service will stand next to all the other services. And then in such scenario, there might be some stuff you want to be able to do, like you want to generate a task or something. And for that reason, we wanted to move away from Go Micro stack, and instead have a gRPC between the services, which I think is a good idea for other reasons as well. Go Micro has changed licenses and things, so we need to be careful with that. But then there was this other architectural approach where we instead have the composition service on top of ODIM as it is today. And in that scenario, I guess you will be in charge of your own tasks and things, and you will just consume ODIM from the composition service. So is that what you were proposing now, Matthew?
Our proposal is that the composition service may be within a part of the ODIM, and it like for resource like data collection or whatever it is, the resource data collection, right? So to build the resource blocks and the resource zones, it is consuming the aggregation service APIs directly, and probably exposing the resource blocks and resource zones within the aggregation service IP and port number itself, kind of a reverse proxying, like how other underlying services are running with aggregation service. So there is only one northbound channel which is exposing all the ODIM related APIs. That's what I think earlier we discussed. Like
Yeah, that's the one I like as well. So in that scenario, it's more of an integration of a new service into ODIM, and I
into
think
ODIM, yeah,
yeah, you will do it in Python. So because of that, I think that's why we will call not call this meeting, but that's why we raised the topic, in order for you to communicate with other services uh, and other mechanisms. You would have to be able to do that. And today we have Go Micro, and I don't know that there is a Python part of that. And instead, underlying Go Micro, there is gRPC, so it would be easier for you to use that directly, even from Python, right?
yeah.
Um, Perhaps, is, do you know when and how much of a work it would be to move out from Go Micro into gRPC?
Um, it's not like technical terms, it's not too much work because the proto files are reusable, as I said earlier. We are working on we're investigating, the service registry part, um, which was used to be console. So we are evaluating which would be a better thing, either console or etcd. Once that is done, and it should take maybe the rest of this week. Um, the changes would be like, because it's many places. So I think maybe a sprint, or rather, to be safe, I'd say 2 sprints at least, maybe.
Okay. So I think for the composition service to be able to use it, so that's one part. But then the other thing is, I guess, the API server now needs to direct composition API calls to the composition service. So there is a change in ODIM for that as well, right?
I didn't get you. Which part is that for API service too?
Yeah, because there are some specific composition paths in the URIs, I guess. So
Redfish U1 composition service, something like
yeah,
that.
Oh, expose those through the API. That's not a big change. That can
That's a
be.
reverse proxy thing, right? So
Yes, yes. Actually, we have this routers, right? So all we'll do is receive it from the API service, and we'll have to write new handler functions for that. That will make an RPC call to the new composition microservice.
okay.
Yeah, so that's minimal work.
so ODIM uses which web service, Bharat, like the aggregation service, it's Apache or Nginx or anything else?
Nginx we use as a reverse proxy,
Yeah.
especially because in the Kubernetes 3 node cluster, we need to have a proxy in front, right? We can't,
Okay.
otherwise it'll be tied to a particular node. But internally, it's this thing, the Golang web
Golang
proxy.
web
Yeah,
services, yeah.
yes, yeah.
So if it is Nginx, it is easy. There is one configuration for reverse proxy, as you guys are aware, like just like redirect to a different port for the composition service request.
Yeah, but here API service is the service that will do all the forwarding.
Okay,
Yeah,
that we will work it out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So in fact, we even saw that we ensured that the proto gen Python is also generating Python stubs. Also, we ensured that, checked it out. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. What was that?
So basically, when we need an RPC service, right, we need to write something called a proto file. It's like the ideal from the Corva world,
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
So it will generate the client and server stubs. and we need to run different tools for running Go or Python. So Go we are already using. Python we checked out that the stubs are getting generated using the Python tool compiler.
Okay. And is that for gRPC then, or?
Yeah, for gRPC.
Okay. So then they could take those proto files and they could basically use them to communicate with other services of gRPC.
Yes.
And what other things do we need um, for composition service? And this is a question for both and you, Bharat, because I don't
A
know.
composition service will have to have also a database access to store the service and resource block information that they create, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So database, ODIM is using like Redis DB or the
Redis, yeah, Redis.
Protos, you call them. Those are basically stubs or IDLs or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that are being generated.
Are you sharing something?
No, I'm typing my notes
Okay, okay.
because I'm not
um,
sure if we're going to get some recordings now. So
Yeah,
maybe Bharat sometime this week or early next week, shall we have a kind of technical discussion from AMI side? Myself and Divya will be part of it.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Just to understand this like gRPC and the protogen things.
Yeah, yeah, sure. gRPC. Okay, we can explain you the current thing.
Yeah, yeah.
See, what happens is that, I mean, it's a subset of what we're doing currently. When we use it for Go Micro, there is a Go Micro compiler, and then there is a Go compiler. Now we're taking off the Go Micro.
Okay.
So some of the functions, they were spread across two stubs, micro stub and proto stub. Going forward, I think it will be a single one. So uh, we can show you the current one so that it's the same process.
Yeah, okay. And we can also discuss about the reverse proxy stubs, whatever is needed for the composition service APIs.
Uh, there is no reverse proxy needed for composition. It is RPC
Uh,
functions that we need to use.
okay.
So uh, as long as see, currently there is no plan to expose any composition services to other microservices. So we don't really need a
Yeah, only in the
new proto.
northbound we need to expose it.
Yeah, and what will happen is you will have to consume some RPCs we've written for, say, session management and account management, those kind of things, and aggregation service, system service.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already there. We'll let you know
Yeah,
which
that's
ones
the
are.
part I just want to understand.
Yeah. And earlier you said you will use the aggregation service for composing the resource blocks, right? There
That
is no.
was my that was my idea because aggregation service exposes all the resources, right? So composition service will consume those URIs,
No, no, no.
APIs.
Actually, it is aggregation will create the aggregates and add the systems. Exposing is done via systems.
Yeah, yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I may be wrong. Northbound, we are planning to use the northbound, ODIM's northbound APIs as it is. For example, Redfish we want system collection for identifying the system resources and build the resource blocks out of it. That is one of my idea.
Okay.
yeah, I like that, and I think we have done that as well, right, Bharat?
Yeah, with URP we've done that.
Yeah. But so
But
that's
one
that.
thing we have to be careful with when we're microservices itself going through the API gateway is that sometimes it will cause cyclical references, no? That time there will
Uh,
be locking issues. We had that with URP actually.
So we have two different services. One service is about the backend data building, and the other service is the API server, which exposes all the APIs. I think,
So see, for if you're interested in getting the inventory,
yeah,
the problem with URP was it was not part of our what do you call ODIM array, right? It is an external thing. It was not a microservice per se within ODIM array. But for composition service, I think if you're talking about getting the system components, servers,
Yeah.
and all that, that's already that RPC is already there. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's the part. That is the part I want to understand. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that we can
Uh,
talk.
yeah, yeah, we need to have a session on that, I guess. So is there another preferred way to get things, the information that Muthu is looking for as far as system collection and things? Because normally you will go outside, you will hit the API server on top, and then you will get the, and you're concerned that that could be problematic, Bharat, because of
Not
cyclic.
in all cases. Like this
Yeah.
was a one-off thing. See, in this, what was happening is from the external thing, say the chassis URI would be requested, right? So URP gets it. It then assembles from the systems and Fabric plugin. So that is an external call. So in the context of this request, it is making an external call, and that external call is was blocking because this call is holding on to the mutex.
Ah, okay.
We yeah, so it was like a recursive call. So we fixed that. But I'm not saying we don't do that, but it's just we need to be careful
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
we
We need to be
use it.
careful.
Yeah.
Um, what about getting some information from Redis? Because it's all stored there, right? In
Yeah.
the memory version of Redis. I think.
Yeah, that also we can
If we can
explain.
collect the system in collection information from direct the DBA access through some RPC or any DBA library or calls, then it is like straightforward, because composition service will also sit as part of another microservices within the ODIM, right?
Yeah, but direct access to DB is not a very good idea because we'll break that
Uh,
architectural thing,
in
right?
the proper way of accessing DB, not
Yeah, yeah.
directly means I am not going to use like Redis CLI something like that. Some
Yeah, yeah.
library calls,
If
yeah.
you see, we have that RPC call, so the system's microservice itself will return whatever info you want.
Okay,
If it's not that, maybe then we can refine those calls.
Yeah.
okay.
Worst case, but see, the idea is that uh, composition services uses only the data that it owns, right? So if
Yeah,
you reading is also a bad thing because then you are tied to the implementation of the other service. So ideally, you want to only access the DB directly for composition service and go to the other service. If it's not possible or if it's not optimal, then I mean, it's not a
yeah,
good way.
yeah. We
But
will push all our resource block, all the composition service related data directly to the database with our own library. But other services like
libraries
system
are
and
there. You can use the library.
okay,
There's a utility library you can use.
okay, to collecting the information, system information, what is the channel? Either we use the northbound like aggregations, like APIs, or we make calls to the utility libraries to get the information from databases. What we need to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good. So, any other concerns or advice or what have you for standing up the service? This is the first time we have a service in another uh, language, and it's going to run in Python. So are you is that going to be on the in a container, or how does it? What are your thoughts there?
As of now, I'm planning to run it as a like Python application as a background daemon or something like that on the system where it is being installed as
Mm.
a service, as a service.
I think
It's system.
that's not a
Yeah,
good
it's not going
idea.
to scale up because so I now we were all integrated in Kubernetes and containers, right? So it
Yeah,
there is a scale out thing and these type of things.
Yeah, even security concept. So, Muthu, actually, if you're developing it as a standalone or as a uh, you know mm, container,
yeah,
the development is going to be same.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
our
The
experience. Yeah.
application development is same. Only containerization part, I need to add some script to containerize it and something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. So some images will Docker images to be created, uh, then yeah, configuration like we'll have to add to that script. Sorry.
Yeah, our first step is to develop the application, then containerize it. Containerization may not take much time. There may be some tweaks we need to do. I understand that. But one question Kubernetes is going to deprecate Docker-based images, right, from 2021 onwards.
No, actually, I think that's a misunderstanding because
Oh,
what's happening is that Kubernetes is moving to pure from pure Docker images is moving to CRI based images.
CRI based. Okay.
Yeah, container runtime interface. No,
The Docker support
Docker
will be
already,
there.
yeah, Docker supports that, so I don't see any major issue.
Okay.
Okay, because there was a big noise about Docker going away from Kubernetes by the end of the
Kubernetes.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classical Docker is, but what people don't tell is that Docker was one of the first companies that endorsed CRI, right? They were part of that, so they have implemented it.
Okay, that makes sense. So integration into Kubernetes and the containerizing part of this exercise, you guys are saying we can hold off till later then, or?
Until we get the application ready.
Mhm. But how does it? So so we have this microservice thing going, Barath, and how do we communicate between containers? Is that gRPC then over specific ports that we have opened, or we have this service discovery as well? I know that, but because I'm just trying to understand how they will stand this up and then be able to, from the bare metal host OS, at least during the development, uh, communicate with these other containers and services.
Mm. See, ideally, what I've seen in my experience is that if we keep this till the last, we can have some nasty surprises.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
at a low priority, we should have this started from the beginning,
Yeah.
and so we'll identify issues if any early at the earliest, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's safer to do that. Don't make it a priority task, but have it in, I mean, this thing scheduled from the beginning. And uh, I think worst case, if we at least having the Docker images, we can test most of the
Integrated.
functionality. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even worse case is that we can have all of ODIM components as a mm, microservice, which is not, I mean, normal processes, right? Not on containers. But then that method we've not used for a long time. But at least Docker we've recently done, and now even our developers they work on Kubernetes itself. So it's not like just a question of creating the Docker image and the Helm charts, but
So
to
for,
install
for Docker, right? Normally, which image you normally use, Ubuntu or some
all
other
ODM work
lightweight?
is on Ubuntu 18.04 only.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Because we also
this,
sync up with that one, right?
hmm.
but
So
that is
if
coming of
we
age a little bit. When are we moving to 2004?
we have it in our backlog for phase 3.
Okay.
We would like to upgrade it to 2004.
Mm.
Okay. Then we will start with 18 for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So perhaps a session where we just go through how that works with our container uh, setup. So I guess upstream right now, Barath, we still are using pure Docker, at least in the release. But perhaps we have already committed the Kubernetes thing, or is that in a branch somewhere, or do you know what's the
No, no,
status?
Kubernetes is available. It was just that it didn't make the first phase, I mean, first
Okay.
open source release, but it's already there.
I was just thinking we could have a session where we go through that framework with AMI and whoever else want to join, so they can get started a little easier. Because I agree with you, if we can get, I mean, just get them to run the Python in a container and communicate with the other containers uh, might make it possible to iron out any issues as early as
Yeah,
possible, right?
because
Yeah, yeah,
Python's runtime will have to be um also included in the container. So definitely we'll
Yeah.
have some challenges here.
yeah.
But there should be containers out there that come with Python already, but yeah, we need to look at that, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you guys want to set up that meeting, obviously. Oh, where are you based, Muthu? You based on the East Coast, or?
Yeah, East Coast, Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it would be make sense if we use the Zoom link here, and then we can invite whoever wants to join. Perhaps not too many people will join. Perhaps it will just be you guys and engineers. But in any case, at least then we make it an open meeting, right?
Yeah,
So I'll whatever. I think if who wants to set up that meeting. I mean, I can do it as well. It's just probably I don't know who wants to be part of it, but just use the link, the Zoom link, and then we send out an email to the TSC list, and then people can join.
yeah. Which time and date is better for you guys?
Yeah, so talk to Barath because I'm a little behind you guys, and
Okay, okay. Then I will start an email thread, Bharat, with you.
Yeah. So Muthu, any time India morning, sorry, evening time India would be preferable.
Okay.
And um, in terms of timing, whatever is convenient for you and the US gang will, I mean, day of the week,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's,
yeah. Day of the week morning, 8 o'clock EST time is like good for me.
it's 5:30 your time, is it? Or am I
Oh,
thinking wrong, Barath?
yeah.
not very familiar with the Eastern time.
Eight, eight, 2.5 hours difference. So
8 a.m. in Eastern time is 6 a.m. here. So it's exactly when we started our call this morning. Is that 5:30 p.m.?
In India, it's
Yeah,
6:30. 6:30.
6:30 is it now?
no, no, 5:30 now. Now we are in like daylight saving time. It is like 5:30 for you.
Okay, this meeting started at 6:30 for us. So
This meeting
I
did, but the
Yeah,
meeting we
it's
had
9 o'clock.
before.
Is now it's 9 o'clock. This meeting starts at 9 o'clock for us.
okay. So
Yeah.
this is 5:30. 5:30 for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5:30 for us. So for
So
you, yeah.
8 a.m. EST would be 5:30 p.m. for India.
Yeah, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
EDT would be 5:30 for you.
Yeah, that's okay with us.
So, do you want to set on a time now, and I can schedule a.
Wednesday or Monday should be good for us at 5:30. Um,
I'm okay with Wednesday. Yeah, I
yeah.
think Divya is also available on Wednesday. Divya?
Let me see. Um, so that's tomorrow. You guys saying, or
Bharat, is it okay to have that meeting tomorrow, or you have we schedule it next week?
I think next week is better.
Okay.
but then we have another architecture meeting before that, and we can talk again then if you want to, right? Because
Yeah.
Tuesdays, so we might as well then use the architecture meeting for that. I'm thinking.
That's the same meeting next week, right? This meeting next week.
This meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then you can have Wednesday next week at 5:30 p.m. Indian time, 8 a.m. Eastern time as a backup if it spills over. Yeah.
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 Okay, so I'm not going to schedule anything extra then. Anything else on this one? Okay. So then the next one we wanted to talk about was the profiles, and I guess I was specifically from Intel, like John Leong and these guys have asked questions about it, and they're not here today. But anyhow, I can give a status to you guys, Muthu and Divian. We have those profiles that have been sitting in a separate branch for quite some time. We have there is a DMTF profile validator, and what that thing is doing is it takes the profile and it makes sure that a server or anything else that have these Redfish APIs are complying with the profiles. And so we have been running that against ODIM, and we see failures, right? Some of the failures is because there might be something missing in ILO or something. Some of the failures is because we have not implemented a certain property in ODIM. So we are looking at logging some issues against that. But then a lot of the issues are also that the validator from DMTF is not reading the profile in a correct way, or we believe that this is the case. If you think about profiles, sometimes they do things like if this is a chassis of type rack or rack group, then the property contains should be present. Because we feel that a rack should always have things in it, right? And the validator still craps out and fails when there is something that comes in like a regular server that has a chassis of type rack mount, and it complains. So there we have logged issues with the MTF, and hopefully they can address those. So all of this together makes it a little bit difficult for us to just feel that the profiles are ready and ready to get published. So that's what we wanted to share, and obviously we're working on this, and if anybody else would like to be involved, we would definitely be more transparent about the work and have it upstream. But right now any changes are happening upstream, but we have internal discussions trying to iron this out. Right? So that's where we are on the profiles. And once we have response from the MTF and those things, we can move forward. And I guess what we need to do in those scenarios is we need to decide are the profiles okay as is, and then we need to work on fixing what is missing in ODIM, or should we change the profile so they are passing? Because some things, some properties, a property can be recommended or it can be mandatory, and then you have read or write permissions on the property as well, and the profiles will take care of that. If we change it to recommended in some cases, it will pass then, because if the property is not there, it will not fail, it's just recommended. The problem with recommended properties is that then a northbound client that is looking at the profiles would still not know if the property is present from ODIM or not, because it's just recommended. So it's an easy way out to make the profiles pass, but it's not very useful if everything is recommended, right? So that's just an overview of where we are with the profiles, and I guess you guys have not expressed that you're using them that much, but we got some questions from Intel, and specifically John Leong from the MTF then last week. So that's why I wanted to bring forward this topic and just explain what we're doing. So I don't know, Muthu and Divian, if you have any questions on that, or otherwise.
Yeah, we understand that profile validator, DMTF is doing not 100% validation, up to certain level of validation. So we do not have any other questions now.
Yeah.
We will continue.
And I just want to say, where we feel that the DMTF validator is having bugs, I just want to leave it open for perhaps DMTF comes back and say, no, you need to rewrite the profile. That is also a potential outcome of it. But some of it we have grabbed from the profile white paper, and still the validator is crapping out. So there's some issue here that we need to iron out, right? So
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, that was just a short update. So I don't have anything more for today. So if you guys,
I
yep,
have one request, the DMTF feedback form. I raised some feedback about the composition service, like resource blocks, actions, right?
yeah.
So far I haven't get any feedback. It has been more than 3 weeks, I guess.
Oh, I should ask Jeff about that. Did you have a link for
Uh,
that
after
request?
after I post that report, the request, I couldn't even see where it is being listed or something like that.
Uh, okay. To check with. Do you remember what you put in as the headline or?
I'm sorry, I couldn't remember. I didn't remember. I thought there will be a list so that I can see the whatever the data I posted, kind of like forum or something like that. I think I misunderstood. I didn't copy the contents, whatever I posted, something related to composition service. I put the title as like composition service resource blocks or something like that. I'm sorry, I
Resource
couldn't
blocks.
record that information.
But I think you did share an email of what you were thinking you would put in there. So perhaps I
Yeah,
can find that. Yeah, normally if you submit something, you expect to have an email back or perhaps a tracking link or something, but you didn't get that, huh? Okay, I'll check with Jeff
yeah,
Hilland
sure.
on that and see where we are.
Yeah, thank you, Jonas.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
Jonas,
that
one thing from my end, like this fabric, we have to see the schema, right? Um,
sorry, I got completely confused.
so the profile validator, we need
Yeah,
to check the fabric stuff also.
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Oh, but the issue with that, okay, yeah, that's a good point. The only concern we have with the fabric is that we only have one plugin, and it's a commercial one, right?
This is cool.
Yeah. No,
So,
the AMI, sorry, the AC.
Yes.
okay, okay, yeah, but how far are we with that? Is that ready to? Yeah, actually, yeah, and that is all upstream, right, Brad?
Uh, Upstream as in like that's a closed source, right? AFC,
Uh, yeah, the
A is
AFC one, yeah, yeah, but
Aruba, yeah.
that's what I was saying. It's a commercial plugin, so that one it will be weird to to run it against that, right? In the scope of the project. But once we get the Cisco stuff in place, we can run it against that, right? But
Yeah,
that also that's upstream, isn't it? I'm getting
yeah, that's
confused
upstream.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then yeah, I think we need to hold off on the fabric till that is ready enough to do that. I think.
Yeah,
Okay, no, that makes sense. Anything else, or you get 20 minutes back?
that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's it from our side.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.